hiding out on me. What's the idea?
Well, actually, we were talking about just how much you ought to do. I told him you'd had a devil of a day, and he doesn't seem to think it matters.
I've had the best day of my life. Doctor, here's a present for you.
Oh, Judith, you shouldn't.
Oh, now, don't play surprise. You know you doctors always expect your GP present. And if I'm not a grateful patient, there never was one.
What's in it?
A little gold and a lot of sentiment. Look at that man, Anne. I thought surgeons had to have such steady hands.
Let me help you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Well, do you like them? Or don't you wear cufflinks?
Thank you very much. It's the best present I've ever had.
Oh, I'm so glad you like them. Of course it isn't enough. Nothing ever could be.
Wait, I've an idea. This is my birthday.
What?
Well, it is really, you know, my new birthday. Every year on this date we'll meet. Just us three. We'll meet and have a party. Why, what's the matter?
Nothing. It's a grand idea.
Of course it is. Come on, we'll start now. Anne, do you think we ought to dress for dinner tonight? Give him a bit of swish?
Just as you please.
My first real weekend. Marvelous. Anne, you will put on your best dignity, won't you, and help me keep dignified?
Judith, look at me.
I'm looking at you.
You're in love.
Yes.
I thought so. What about him? Has he given you any encouragement?
Not a ripple on the water. It drives me crazy. But when I just think of him, Anne, it's awful, but it's wonderful. You know, for the first time I get up in the morning with something to live for. Something besides horses and hats and food. Oh, Anne, he's very fine, isn't he? He's worthwhile, isn't he? But, oh, if only the Spaniards or the French had settled New England instead of the Pilgrims.
But if he's given you no sign, then how do you know?
Now, Anne, darling, don't be against me. He didn't go away, did he? That's one sign. Huh? Keep both fingers crossed for me, please. One day it'll happen to you, darling, and then you'll know.
Come in, Anne. I got your call. Trouble.
We have something to talk about, Doctor.
Yes?
Does Judith mean anything more to you than just a patient? Perhaps it's impertinent of me to ask.
No, it isn't.
I think I know. You do care for her.
Yes, I care. Very much.
But what are you going to do? Are you going to tell her? She'll expect you to marry her. Or is it better for you to go away and leave it to us? Well?
You know, Anne, women have never meant anything to me before. I'd never met anyone like her. I was all set to. I had plans, arrangements made.
Yes, Vermont. Why don't you go away for your own sake? For your work?
Work? When I can't cure her? There's nothing else on my mind. Look here, I had a letter from Vienna today, the last finding in the case. Here's the translation. Not a chance in the world. And the others, 12 of them. Prognosis negative. Prognosis negative. Prognosis negative.
Oh, I'm so sorry for you both. You couldn't marry her. You couldn't watch her growing happier every day with this thing creeping up behind her back. Could you stand it? I couldn't.
It isn't a question of what you or I could stand. The only thing that matters is that she should be happy every hour. All my life I've told people what to do. Now, Anne, what shall we do? What can we do?
You're quite sure she isn't home yet, Martha?
Yes, Miss Judith. She said she was going into town. And then I heard her call Dr. Steele's number.
Dr. Steele? Oh, I see. Well, Judith, I'm back.
Oh, there she is now.
You may go, Martha.
Yes, miss.
Hello, darling. Hello, darling. Where have you been?
Oh, for a drive.
Where to?
To town.
What for?
Oh,
And where did you go?
Judith, please.
Hello. How are you, Anne? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I stumble into something?
Yes. We were just on the verge of a jealous scene about you.
What?
Judith, don't. Well, I suppose I'd better go.
You didn't mean that, Judith.
Darling, you poor fool. Don't you know I'm in love with you? Well, of course I've made an idiot of myself. Naturally, you must be embarrassed. You see, you've been proposed to. Well, Well, all you have to say is that you don't want me.
But I do want you. I came here today to tell you I wanted you.
Oh, my darling.
Judith. Judith, darling.
Hey, anybody home?
How do you do, Mr. Hearn? The doctor's not here.
Where is he? I'm to have lunch with him.
He wants you to meet him at the restaurant. Oh, I haven't seen you to congratulate you.
Oh, thank you, Wainwright. It's a strange world, isn't it? When I first came here, you were packing, and I thought it was the end of my life. Now you're still packing, but my life is just beginning. Huh. Wainwright, don't let me disturb you. I'll help pack up his papers and things. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Hearn.
You know, Wainwright, it's nice to marry the man you love. I darn nearly broke my neck to get him. Of course, it's a perfectly screwy setup. Vermont and Long Island. We don't live in the same world. Do you suppose Vermont and I will understand each other?
I don't know much about Vermont except what he's told me.
He loves it, doesn't he? Ah, then I will, too. You know, Wainwright, I'm going to sell my house and my apartment, everything.
Well, what's this? Case history, Miss Judith Traherne. Oh. Examination of the tissue samples proved the original diagnosis. The prognosis is definitely negative. Negative. Oh.
Wainwright?
Yes?
What does prognosis mean?
It means what the future of a case looks like.
What does negative mean?
It means hopeless, a case that... Mr. Hearn! What is it? Mr. Hearn!
I'm sorry I'm late, darling. I had a consultation. Oh, you look lovely.
Have a drink.
No, thanks.
Another for me, waiter.
Yes, miss, right away.
You should try one someday.
I will. Perhaps on our wedding day.
Our wedding day.
What's the matter?
Oh, could anything be?
If I'm late, I'm sorry.
Oh, don't be sorry, Anne, about anything. Sit down and join the party. We're playing games. Hide and seek. You can play, too. Puss in the corner.
What are you talking about?
Oh, I don't know. Of course, if you like, I'll leave. You two dear friends probably have a lot to talk over. My two dearest friends. Anne, have a cocktail. I'm going to have another.
Yes, I'll have a cocktail.
Oh, they're fine. They deaden the brain. You know about brains, Dr. Steele. They loosen inhibitions and make the tongue waggle. You should both have one.
Are you quite well, Judith?
You should know how well I am. Am I well, Doctor? Shh, it's a secret. Or wouldn't you know about secrets?
Judith.
I've meant to ask you, Doctor. Was I a specimen case? Will I make the medical journal?
Why don't you tell me what this is about?
Why don't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me? Waiter! I think I'll have a large order of prognosis negative.
What do you mean?
You know Earth sur le plat. Prognosis negative. Do you know what prognosis negative means, Doctor? Explain to Anne, or have you? A few months of pretending you're well, then blindness, then... So long, my friend.
Wait, Judith, we can't talk here, but...
Ah, yes, we can. It was a question of humor, the patient, wasn't it? Give the poor darling everything she wants. The time's so short. Marry her if necessary. Now I know why you went to his office that day. It was to beg him to marry me. Out of pity. You're both so kind. Thank you very much.
Judith, you're wrong. Judith!
Don't touch me, please. Let me go. Let me go.
With only a few months of life before her, Judith Traherne lives desperately, cramming her days and nights with excitement, striving vainly to forget. At a horse show in New York, her reckless jumping has won her first prize, and now she stands at the bar, receiving the congratulations of her friends.
Miss Judith, can I speak to you?
Well, Michael, what's the matter?
I've got the horses packed. I wondered if you'd care to drive back with me. That mare's got bronchitis and can't possibly last the night.
Jessica's girl?
Yes.
Why don't you put her out of her misery? I'll get there if I can. Ha! Kid, there's a tragedy for you. Jessica's girl has bronchitis and can't possibly last the night. Jessica's girl is a horse. Poor Jessica's girl.
Judith, they want you outside. The presentation of the cup.
Ah, yes, the darling little cup. Excuse me, kid.
Judith,
Well,
If it isn't the extraordinary surgeon.
I've tried to see you.
How's your mortality rate these days, Doctor? Any more fun with the knife?
Drop it, Judith.
Why aren't you in Vermont with the bugs?
You know why I'm not. I want to talk to you.
When I need a doctor, I'll send for one. I'm not in your care any longer.
You'll always be in my care.
Will I? Is that part of your duty? To hang on until the very end and watch through those scientific eyes?
Stop it.